Joining us now, the aforementioned former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, who is up in this new poll, doing the best against Obama of all the contenders, and leading in a state like California, which a lot of people write off, and I don't think it's smart to do that. Speaker Gingrich, how are you?
I'm doing great, and I agree with you entirely. California is, in fact, going to be very much a battleground state. Any Republican who understands the nature of California and who understands the pain level of the people of California has a real chance of carrying the state.
Let's talk about the story that's getting everyone flapping in the media today, and this is the Bloomberg report about the payments you received from Freddie Mac over the years, and they estimate it to be about $1.6 to $1.8 million. This was the exchange the other night during the debate. Let's listen.
Your firm was paid $300,000 by Freddie Mac in 2006. What did you do for that money?
Were you asking me?
Yes.
Sure, I offer them advice on precisely what they didn't do.
And then you continue to say this.
Were you not trying to help Freddie Mac fend off the effort by the Bush administration?
No, I have never done
Freddie Mac?
I have never done any lobbying. Every contract that was written during the period when I was out of the office specifically said I would do no lobbying, and I offered advice.
Former Freddie Mac officials, according to Bloomberg, Mr. Speaker, said that in 2006 you were asked to build bridges to Capitol Hill Republicans and develop an argument on behalf of Freddie Mac's public-private structure that would resonate with conservatives seeking to dismantle it. Is that accurate?
Well, that may have been what they asked. That's not what I did, and that's not what I've ever done. I was perfectly happy to work on the question of what do government-sponsored enterprises do. There's a long American history of government-sponsored enterprises, and I was happy to give them advice on how to present government-sponsored enterprises as a model. But I did no lobbying. I just want to emphasize this. I did no lobbying. I did not reach out to Capitol Hill. I was not directly engaged in that way. I gave them advice on what they could do, but I'm not in the business of lobbying, period.
What was your specific job description over the course of, I guess, your first contract came shortly after you left your speakership in 1999, and then it continued on. But what was your specific job description?
To offer strategic advice. We had set up the Gingrich Group. We've had contracts with a number of major American corporations. Every single one of them, we do no lobbying. We look at what they're doing. We offer them advice. We help them think through their problems, and you get lots of different problems depending on what kind of company they are.
Right, so you never had any conversations with any members of Congress regarding Freddie Mac's business or its business activities? Never.
I would never do that. No.
So this is a consulting contract that you and the Gingrich Group had received from Freddie Mac because of your general political and economic expertise?
Well, I would assume that they wanted the strategic advice of somebody who had been Speaker of the House and somebody who knew a fair amount about what was going on, and that from that perspective, I was very happy to offer them advice. It's sort of funny that a lot of people who use this phrase that I did really well in the debates, and guys say things like he's the smartest guy in the room. Well, you don't have to believe that about me. But clearly, having been Speaker of the House, having served in Congress for 20 years, having looked strategically at where we're going, there are a number of people who found it useful to get our advice. And we consulted with many companies. Gingrich Group has a very good list of people that we worked with. We then founded the Center for Health Transformation as a part of Gingrich Group. It has had many members, and many of them among the most successful companies in the world.
So you referred to yourself as a historian for the company. Was that part of the contract?
Well, the contract was to get my general advice, but I think like a historian. I mean, my PhD's in history. I've written lots of books on history. When I see a problem, my first thought is to think historically. What are the right parallels? What are other examples of this happening? So, I'm not a lawyer. I don't give lawyer-like advice. I give the kind of advice somebody who has a deep sense of history would give.
So the just so I'm clear, the former Freddie Mac official, again, this is anonymous, and this is what is done in reporting today. Anonymous. But this person who said you were hired to, quote, build bridges to Capitol Hill, you would dispute that account and that description?
Well, I don't know what they thought their intent was, but I didn't build bridges. I don't do lobbying. I may have offered them advice on what they could do. which I did routinely. I mean, somebody come to me and say, how would you try to solve this? And I'd say, well, if I were you, I would go do this. But
so you would direct them to then talk to specific members of Congress, or?
No, I would say, these are the guys you ought to go talk to, and this is what you ought to think about.
So then your position as Speaker did obviously influence the fact that, I mean, that's a pretty big contract. I mean, I'm not against getting contract for giving advice. No, believe me. Consulting for me is, I don't have any problem with that. If you're consulting, you're consulting.
But if you look at a range of consulting firms in this country, and you look at what they routinely charge, and again, because we were paying for a team, and we had offices here and in Atlanta, at times we had offices in other parts of the country. If you were to look at PR firms and other kind of strategic advice firms or strategic management firms, all of those folks charge a fairly large amount of money.
Do you think that in general, for a company like Freddie Mac, and I know you've done so much in discussing this over the last couple of months, especially during this campaign, but do you think, given the public-private nature of that enterprise, that they should really be continuing to have these type of consultancy arrangements with companies? I mean, it would seem that they're bleeding money here. So would you recommend that they continue to do these kinds of contracts?
I would recommend, as a matter of public, I'm not recommending to them. I would recommend, as a matter of public policy, that both Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac be broken up. I think they're too big, they're unmanageable, they've had huge problems, and they involve too big a risk. There's too big a financial exposure.
So that would include not having any taxpayer connection with future consulting contracts.
Right. I mean, it strikes me that these are firms that may be how we have to think about government-sponsored enterprises in the future. What you don't want to do is have your tax money go to pay somebody to then figure out a way to get Congress to give them even more money so they could get even more people. And I think the studies that have been done, particularly of Fannie Mae and of Jim Johnson's role and of how he did it, are pretty staggering in terms of the level of impact, which was not the intent of Congress in originally setting it up. I mean, originally these were set up specifically to make home ownership more affordable, not to become self-serving institutions.
Well, I guess what liberals are saying out there, and I've heard some of the chatter, Mr. Speaker, is that you were criticizing Barney Frank because he had his friend who worked over at Freddie, and I think it was part of the loan approval process over at Freddie, or he was some type of consultant, or working there or something. And yet, you were making money off of Freddie Mac in part because you were Speaker of the House. I mean, that's one of the most important positions in Washington.
Yeah, but I wasn't Speaker at the time. That's the whole point. Barney Frank was in Congress. Barney Frank was in a position to do things legislatively directly and immediately. He had immediate supervisory power. And I was Speaker. If you read the new book that just came out about Congress, it doesn't mention me at all. I never dealt with people like Abramoff. As Speaker, I had a different role in life. As a former Speaker, I'm a private citizen, and I'm allowed to offer strategic advice.
But they didn't care about Newt as a private citizen. They cared about Newt as the guy who was Speaker of the House. I mean, you wouldn't have gotten that contract if you weren't Speaker, right?
Who had been Speaker of the House.
Right, but you wouldn't have received the contract without being Speaker. I mean, come on. That's just, you were hired because you were former Speaker. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying if you hadn't been Speaker, you probably wouldn't have gotten $1.6 million.
Right, but the difference was if you'd come to me and said, did I do something directly for them while I was Speaker? That would be a very different case. My argument about Chris Dodd and Barney Frank was they were in public office.
Oh, I got it. I understand.
They weren't in the private sector.
No, and the follow-up with reporters on the Barney Frank connection was never done, frankly, and I find that to be appalling.
Look, if Barney wants to retire tomorrow morning and get a really good contract with somebody, more power to him. That's called free enterprise.
Newt, the attacks on you in I guess this is coming out of a group called Christian Leaders in Government, Iowans for Christian Leaders in Government. And it's a nasty political attack on your past personal life, and you've already talked about reconciliation, and I find it very powerful. You talk about your joining the Catholic Church, and you've made peace with those things. But this is clearly aimed at hitting the evangelical vote in Iowa, and to our evangelical friends out there who are waking up to see this ad. It's called "Is Nothing Sacred to Newt?" and talking about your past personal life and marriages and so forth. What do you say to them today?
The same thing. I say what I've always said. The fact that some anonymous group puts out an absurd document doesn't change what I've said and doesn't change me. I'm not expecting when you're dealing in running for president, you get these kind of attacks. It's just part of the process. Should
Republicans be concerned at this point with the betting as it is today? I go to InTrade because I like to see where the money goes. I always like to see where the good money is on the betting on politics. And Romney still gets, the odds are with Romney. And look, you're rising in the polls, and we've been documenting this and predicting it now for some time. But right now, a lot of folks are worried that the outsourcing of jobs to China and other countries done in part when you take over these companies and break them up and so forth, is that something that Americans should worry about when it comes to Mitt Romney's own record?
Well, he has to explain it, and he has to convince people that what he did was the right kind of thing, and that he has the knowledge to, as president, to help create jobs in America. I think all of us are going to go through different questions about different things. It's totally legitimate. It's the way the system should work. And, Mitt will have his challenges. I'll have mine. I just remind people that I was supposedly dead in June, and I kept saying the first vote's not till January. Now I'm back up, and people are saying, yeah, but I'm not up enough. Well, guess what? The first vote's not till January.
Yeah, leading in California, not too bad, not too shabby. Yeah, hey, Newt, have any of those kids who quit your campaign in New Hampshire, any of them crawling back for jobs?
No, right now I think they're all still with Perry.
Well, all I know is my former law school classmate and great guy, Vince Haley, works for you. And you tell him I said hi?
Oh, no, Vince is still working for me. He's a great
Yeah, I know. He's my friend. He's my friend. I love him.
He's a great guy. He's doing a great job in South Carolina for us right now.
Finally, Herman Cain said that, quote, I'm not supposed to know anything about foreign policy. I just thought I'd throw that out. He said it as a dig at his critics. Is that something you would say? I'm not supposed to know anything about foreign policy?
No, I think, in fact, as Speaker, I learned a fair amount, and I think it's fairly important that in a dangerous world to have a president who knows something about foreign policy.
I have a final question. Do you know where Libya is, Mr. Speaker?
Sort of, yeah,
okay.
Basically.
All right, that's just I thought so. We're just going to take
east and west of it.
Okay, well, there's a Libya, Arkansas. All right, Newt, we appreciate it. Thanks so much. All right, Newt Gingrich on the Laura Ingraham Show.